This game needs no introduction. This is Half-Life 2, released in 2004 for the PC, with an original Xbox port being released in 2005, which is the version you're watching here. Developed and published by Valve, this game, in my opinion, cemented Valve as a powerhouse for the video game landscape, specifically in the PC space.
Welcome.
The game takes place some years after the events of the first Half-Life, where you again play as MIT graduate Gordon Freeman, who has been frozen in time by some mystery man who has now let you loose on an alien-controlled Earth for some unknown reason. So naturally, you join the resistance movement and attempt to free Earth from its overlords. Along the way, you will meet now iconic characters in the Half-Life universe, such as Barney, Dr. Kleiner, Eli, Dog, and your undisclosed love interest, Alex Vance.
Dr. Freeman, I presume. We better hurry.
Who you probably know now will star in her own game later in the series. As you can see, the game is a first-person shooter with a wide variety of weapons to choose from. The standout weapon being the gravity gun. It allows you to grab objects and throw them at enemies, and is even implemented in some solving of puzzles throughout the game. This is all achieved with the game's graphics engine, the Source engine, which at the time of release showcased new physics advancements that honestly still hold up to this day, only really being surpassed by the engine's sequel, Source 2. Am I the only one that thinks physics in games is much more interesting than any ray tracing stuff some games try doing these days? I don't know, ray tracing is neat when done right, but if I had to choose between the two, it'd be physics any day. Every object you can grab and every weapon you can shoot all feel like they have weight to them, but I think that has more to do with how every enemy just ragdolls after being killed, which more often than not, their body just acts as if they got hit by a truck. In some parts of the game, they have you travel down a linear path in a gunboat or an old beat-up car. While they were fun segments, these felt like gaps in the middle of a storyline that were just there to fill time. The coolest part about these segments was the gun that gets attached to your vehicle, which luckily is extremely easy to aim at targets, with the lock-on feature the gun has.
Consider the fact that for the first time ever, as a species,
This subjugated Earth that Valve built has stood the test of time. After all these years and multiple playthroughs, I still find myself blown away by the game's world design and atmosphere. It is no accident that all of the alien-looking objects and enemies look out of place. The aliens, or Combine as they're called, are here to make humanity its slaves and suck up all the Earth's resources for its own. And you, the player, or Gordon Freeman, have been released at the right time in the wrong place to free the planet from its chains and ignite a rebellion. All the while that mystery man is following your every step. Of the various locations that you will visit in Half-Life 2, possibly the most memorable is the Ravenholm section. The entire level is practically a well-made tech demo for the Source engine, which I am all for because throwing a saw blade at a zombie will never get old. On top of the world that you've been just seemingly dropped into, the sound effects and music are what gets you fully immersed in this adventure. Or at least, that's what it did for me. The sounds from the HEV suit to the garbled up sounds from the Combine troopers, the screams from the zombies. Every sound has been meticulously placed and calculated to ensure the game keeps your attention from beginning to end. Ever since starting to do these review videos, I found myself intently aware of the sounds other games have been using for their sound effects and music. But Half-Life 2 is definitely one that stands out. As far as implementation to a console, the game controls transition well onto the original Xbox controller. All the buttons I felt were mapped to their normal designated button. I found that during this generation of consoles, controls can be kind of a hit or miss because the FPS layout on the controller was not set in stone to what it is now. But Half-Life 2's control scheme feels modern and precise. One thing you probably noticed in the gameplay that the Xbox ports does not handle well is the frame rate. While yes, the frame rate does seem to land in the single digits and deliberately affects the sounds of weapons like the SMG, I do think it can be forgiven due to the hardware the game is running on. While I'm not an expert on the console, the Xbox seems to be running on just souped up late 90s computer hardware. You gotta remember, this game came out when frame rate wasn't even called frame rate to the average person. When stuff like this happened, we called it like lag or simply the game not playing smoothly. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, let me put it to you like this. It is 2005, your nerdy friend at school who scares all the chicks and plays on his dorky computer for a game called World of Warcraft, aka nerd shit. He recommends you a game titled Half-Life 2, because he knows you play games like Halo and Halo 2. Of course you have no use for a new and expensive computer, so when you see a copy of Half-Life 2 for your Xbox at your local Circuit City, you then have the ability to play the biggest release on PC, but instead of playing it on the PC, you're playing it on your Halo machine. Honestly, quite a bargain at the time if you ask me, but obviously nowadays there are better options to playing this game. Seems like once a year Half-Life 2 is just free on Steam anyways. I'd like to give a quick shout out to one of my best friends, Travis. He made this all possible by letting me get this game even though he was in a hurry. I hope you have some good League of Legends lobbies in the future, man. All in all, I would say Half-Life 2 is one of the only perfect games in existence. The only complaint I have about the game is that it's dumb that your flashlight, sprint, and oxygen are all tied to the same bar. But honestly, that's a nitpick and can be easily overlooked with the package that you get when you play Half-Life 2. The state-of-the-art features that this game had revolutionized the first-person shooter genre, and the game's impact can still be seen and felt today with a vast number of mods created with the source engine. From the facial animations to the physics system, Half-Life 2 is an expertly crafted video game that has and will be talked about for years to come. If for some reason you have not played Half-Life 2 and you enjoy video games, then you are practically legally obligated to play through this adventure, as the journey will stick with you for the rest of your life, and for some reason it doesn't, then you might want to choose a different hobby.